Hello, ladies and gentlemen. I hope you're doing well and having a great weekend. So, just had a quick look around the internet and I found out a lot of people are talking about the crash that we had yesterday. Was it a crash or a pullback? I mean, so far, nothing has changed. As you can see, we're just looking at the QQQ at the moment. I have a diagonal here. Even if I break down under that, then that is my next level. We know a lot of new investors are looking to actually go long again. This is a discount, as they call it. So I think this market will probably come back here. This is the last time institutions were available. Either we're going to go for a double top or lower high, or we're going to go for a head and shoulders and we're going down to the downside. That's my bias. I am looking for this market to go down and correct itself. It's been a very, very long time. We haven't had real corrections in this market, and it seems like the euphoria is going to slowly, slowly die down, and the panic is going to happen. The liquidation, was it to do anything with, did it have anything to do with the XPO, the IPO, sorry, that is coming for X coming out this week or on Friday? I don't think so. That's not how they're going to be raising money, to be honest. You cannot crash the market to actually bring an IPO and want it to be successful. There's another couple of rock balls that are lining up very, very soon. But just to go quickly, yesterday, this is meant to be the crash from the job numbers that came out. That was well overwhelming, more than expected. And finally, now it seems like news is coming in. The market tops on good news, bottoms on bad news. What was the news that came in and dumped this thing? Seems like attacks in the Middle East, fights in the globe in the Strait of Hormuz, global chaos is going on at the moment because of the oil shock that we're getting. All this back and forth uncertainty that's going on around the world with all the reports that we've been getting, whether we're in inflation is going up, whether we're now in recession or have we hit stagflation, all that stuff that's going on, the market has just been ignoring it completely because of peace talks in Iran and earnings and AI that's always going to grow and grow and grow. So anyway, let's look at what happened yesterday. This was the news that we had yesterday. 172,000 jobs that was added in May. And that made the market panic and said, look, the market, the, 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 the GDP or the growth, the economy is doing great. That means we're not going to have any rate cuts. They've been talking about rate hikes for the past several weeks right now because of inflation, uncertainty, oil shock, and everything that's going on around the world. All of a sudden, one news yesterday made the market panic and the Nasdaq went down almost 5%. Now, let me tell you something. This 172,000, very interesting chart I found on X today. If you look at it in red, the jobs that were added, it's right here. They are part-time employment. The World Cup is happening in the United States. This is temporary jobs being added to the market. They've got hired for part-time jobs over the World Cup that's happening, whether they're in hotels, in stadiums, in places, cafes, restaurants. There's going to be the world is going to be coming towards the United States as you're hosting the World Cup. So the reality is you don't even have a strong labor market, right? So this is a very, very, it's amazing. Literally, look what we just had from yesterday. These jobs are part time. Most of the jobs are part time. So the economy isn't doing great. Do you know who thinks the economy is doing great? This man with a great job report like that. Just announced stocks should go up, not down. That's the way it was for 200 years. Growth does not mean inflation. How else can a country attain greatness? Mr. Trump, your economy isn't doing great. Stop talking to Wall Street people. Go to the mainstream and ask people how they're struggling with oil prices and trying to make ends meet. What jobs are you talking about? This part-time jobs is not going to bring in enough money to a household to even fill up their tanks, to to even pay for food. So what greatness are you talking about? Finally, I found this report as well from a friend of mine on YouTube. Look at this. The algos have turned. Finally. Because now no longer these algos are gonna make money. They're gonna make you lose money. So the algos have been turned. They're like, all right, enough. Trump is just talking about deals, 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 deals. Iran, it's all great. Nothing is going on. Don't worry, we're making a great deal. We're going forward. And the market kept on ignoring inflation, oil shocks, everything that's happening around the world. Completely ignored it for the past several weeks based on all these things. It seems like finally the algos are turning on you, Mr. Trump, because yesterday you did try. You did try saving the market. And that was yesterday. You did try saving the market. And guess what happened? That's how much the market finally listened to you. Seems like you might be the wolf. That was it, the little boy that died, cried wolf? The little boy cried wolf. Seems like finally the market is going to start getting back to reality and maybe getting back to normal. I hope so, because, we're looking at, firstly, let's look at the VIX. Now, that VIX definitely did not listen to Mr. Trump yesterday. That's the volatility index. I drew up this chart. All right, so we're looking at oil. Ladies and gentlemen, when you have equal highs, that means a lot of stops are over here, including there. Now we have a nice wedge, okay? Another nice wedge. This is a great support area. Every time we've come above that, this market is taken off. We're not able to break down from here. Now we got a nice trend line going. The only way I'm going to change my mind about oil is if I see us break down from this zone. Break that trend line, break this, then maybe the world is doing great. But I'm going to tell you one thing, and this is my own idea. This market I see over the next week is going to come here, and I don't think Trump is going to have much influence on the market anymore, as maybe the algos have decided. Let's just see. But this oil shock is real, and by going into negotiation with Iran and shaking hands, it doesn't change the fact that you are not able to fix the supply overnight. Right now, you've got the chef that's missing the main ingredient and that does not have gas in his kitchen to turn off his cooker and start making his meal. He's coming to the party telling everyone dinner is going to be great. Sir, it seems like we've caught on to you. So this market is pricing in something we're not aware of. All I'm saying is that we need to be vigilant. And if you are an investor or if you are a dip buyer, please, in these market conditions, after you see that, always be careful. Do not overstay your welcome if you are going long, because we have multiple things going for this market to go back down. And if we're just going to go onto the daily, ladies and gentlemen, please pay attention to this. Okay? I am actually all for the market crashing. I am all for the market resetting. As an investor, I've taken my money, but this market is not sustainable. It cannot keep going in one direction based on everything that's going on. And you cannot have these kind of runs to the upside if you haven't really had a good pullback. 10%, 13%, 5% is not enough. This move, if we're looking at this move from just last year till now, it has been ridiculous. That is a ridiculous amount of move based on everything. Is it based on what? May I ask? 86% in 12 months. How many pullbacks have we really had? And let's just say real pullbacks. 4% here. Let's just say a couple of times we've had 4%, 4%. Here we've had like almost a 10%, 7%, 8%. This one, the biggest one, has been 12%. We need a nice correction. We need a correction of at least 25% to at least to these gaps, about 30% correction. These are not corrections. These are not pullbacks. And I tell you, these people that are in already, these are cash right now. They're building this whole narrative to pass the bag on to us. I'll be very, very careful from here on. I don't know what this market is going to do. If the market is finally going to start behaving as it should, because it hasn't been behaving at all. It's just been going in one direction. We haven't had any pullbacks to do anything. And to be honest, multiple shorts got taken out, but we have a trend line that's telling us after we broke down from that trend line, we came down, we have another zone. This will be structure. If we can break that, this is the last time big institutions were actually involved in this market. That's the prior highs. How long is that going to take? I don't know. If this is a market crash, we could be here by next week. If this is a gradual gap and trap, it could be anything like that. But I see this market by end of next week, after we've had the inflation data, all the economic news that's coming out, and also the IPO on Friday, the market is going to be set to look forward to the first Fed meeting with the new Fed chair and his policies. They say every time we have a new Fed chair, we're looking at 10% correction. Every time we have a bubble like this, it's going to burst and it's going to give us 10 to 15% correction. And anytime that we've been in midterms, we've also had another 10% correction. So are we looking at a 30 to 35% correction? I hope so as an investor, and I hope everyone's vigilant. We're not calling for the bottoms for these markets, but sometimes you want the market to actually behave in a different manner so you're able to trade it better, maybe invest better. At these levels, you have to be very, very scared, because this market gave us a warning. Now, I don't know if we did ignore it or not, but ladies and gentlemen, if you are a bull after President Trump took over and said Trump is going to love this and he's going to push this market to the sky, and when you hit back around the 100 mark, if you listen to Tom Lee, who said by end of the year we're going to be at 250, a lot of people got liquidated, ladies and gentlemen, from BTC. Now it seems like when there is volatility and there is liquidation, they always go they always go for the weakest asset or the most vulnerable one, which is crypto. And now you're going to get a narrative of crypto is going to become the new digital currency, and this is the time where they shaking it out of the weak hand onto the strong hand and blah, blah, blah. Look, if you want to be a real BTC buyer, ladies and gentlemen, I have made a couple of videos on BTC. Go check them out. But just always remember, you are back in the grinder right now. Now, this is a make or break area. And if you're going to be a buyer and you're going to like BTC, you would like it to come here and give you a nice push. But knowing that you definitely going to start struggling, breaking back above the 60 mark. So now, ladies and gentlemen, don't listen to people on YouTube, including myself. Do your own research as you are trading with your own money and your finances. This was hopefully just a little mind opener. I hope I did well. Like and subscribe if you want to see more of these videos. Have a great rest of your weekend.